welcome back to the Oklahoma Today podcast. I'm your host, Ben Lucian. We've got a special one for you today. Our very own Nathan Gunter sat down with Rachel Cope, founder and CEO of 84 Hospitality, the team behind some of the most fan-favorite OKC dining brands there are, Empire Slice House, Goro Ramen, just to name a few. There's a new addition to the lineup. Elisabetta Fine Italian and Wine is on Northwestern Avenue here in Oklahoma City. We've got a special inside look, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But first, a friendly reminder to please hit subscribe if you've not already done so. We are, as of this recording, about 38 subscribers short of our July 1st goal. And I know if you just hit that button right now, you can be one of those special 38. So I will give you a second just to do that. Just right now. Yes. Just right now. Just right down there. Just hit the button. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. With that said, let's bring on the full team here. How are y'all feeling today?
Hello. Excellent. So happy to be here.
Yes. I'm still a little full from that breakfast meeting we had today.
Yeah, we were
Jimmy's.
Cafe.
Yes.
Yeah. South side of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I had I put it on my personal Instagram, a big old biscuit debris plate. It was definitely 2 meals worth, but it was very delicious.
Yeah, it looked like a lot. You were
Yeah.
sitting next to me, and I was like, should I help?
Yeah, right. No, I
I
survived.
just reached my fork over and started eating.
And
That would have been.
That would have been funny.
It would have been so fun.
sorry, I just wanted to say that if you've never been to Jimmy's before, the first time you go, you get a free fried pie.
Oh, yeah.
So just let 'em know it's your
that
first
happened to us
time.
last time we went.
Yep.
Yes. Well, we'll stay on the subject of restaurants, one of our favorite subjects, honestly, because our question of the week this time is sort of a fill-in-the-blank exercise. Have you ever gone to a new restaurant and right away you're like, oh, I know this is gonna smack? To use Megan's favorite term.
You said smack.
Oh,
Slap.
slap.
I like smack. I like smack better.
Smack. Okay, well, we'll stick with
Invented
smack.
slang.
So we're talking today about restaurant green flags. Like, what do you look for that are the good qualities of a restaurant before you've even had your meal? So Editor-in-Chief Nathan Gunter, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the truth is, trying anywhere new is always a gamble, right? Because sometimes even places that are done very well aren't really my thing. You know what I mean? So I think across price points and across types of food and everything, I think to me one thing that I can immediately tell is if the staff are kind of actively friendly. There's a base level of friendliness you get from almost all wait staff, but if they're really engaged and really wanting to talk to you and really if they talk about the food in a way that indicates more than just what they've been told to say, you know what I'm saying? If they really seem to know the menu and have favorites, because I always ask people, what's your favorite? If I don't end up ordering it at a new restaurant, I always ask the wait person, what's your favorite thing on the menu? Or what's it known for, what's legendary? And so if I can have a nice conversation with the person, the wait staff, then that usually tells me that people there are at least happy at their jobs, and that's going to result in something better.
And a frazzled wait staff is usually a symptom of something else that might be going on.
Yeah, and it's not universal. I've been to great restaurants where the staff was clearly miserable and the food was amazing, but it's not as common. You know what I mean? From a diner up to a really nice steakhouse, if you get someone who's really nice and really engaged with what they're doing, usually to me it says this is going to be good.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I agree with all those answers. Kirsten Stone, research editor, what about you?
So kind of like what Nathan said, whenever the employees there seem like they're genuinely having fun together and they don't just seem like they hate their lives. But also, I feel like it's a green flag when you go somewhere during lunch on a work day and you see work trucks parked outside, because those dudes know where they're going.
That's true.
They know where they're going. So.
Yes, and they won't waste their time with something that won't be worth their time.
No, they get 45 minutes to an hour for lunch. They're clean cutting that.
Yeah.
I better make sure it's good.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's a good one. Senior editor Carly Barr, what about you?
There's a lot of things that I look for, but I think my number one like standard is they have to brew their own iced tea.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I can't stand it when you go to a place and they have the Lipton out of the dispenser. Like I feel like brewing iced tea is such an easy basic thing, and if you can't even do that, then you know their other stuff is not going to be homemade. So, and also having sweet and unsweet tea, because I like to do half and half. Yeah.
It's all about the tea.
Or
Yeah.
even Arnold Palmer set up. I mean,
I don't go that way.
Brownie
But
points.
you know,
Megan, photo editor Megan Rossman, what about you?
I think you're off to a good start if there's lasagna on the menu.
Specifically lasagna. Okay.
I've been thinking about it a lot lately. But
If the pho restaurant has lasagna, yeah, I'm really intrigued.
I'm always intrigued by lasagna. And also, if they bring me something complimentary at the beginning of the meal, it warms my heart a little.
Yeah.
But like some of my like Sean Cummings, they bring you Irish soda bread, like the chips and queso or bread. Just give me something while I'm waiting because I'm already starving, and I love bread.
That's a good answer.
Yes.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
If they're on point with their carbs,
you can go to a lot of restaurants and get a bread basket. They'll bring you bread or whatever, and then you're like, oh, my meal wasn't very good. But for example, it can set the tone and indicate the quality of the rest. Like Cheevers, for example, they bring you these little round loaves. Those rolls, it's so good, and I'm like.
It definitely sets the tone.
Yeah, it sets the tone because Cheevers is always good. I've never had a bad meal at Cheevers, and
you'll not be in that situation where you're so starving that you're on pins and needles waiting for your food to go.
yeah.
No.
and then the waiter comes and you order 3 appetizers and 2 entrees and 4 desserts because you're so hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Ben? What do you look for?
Well, to add on to Megan's point, I just think you can tell a lot from the appetizers at a place, because I think that is sort of a course that's easy to kind of look over, to just be like, oh, well, people will order these basic things. We don't have to put a lot of thought into that. So if they're putting a lot of thought into the appetizers, I think that's a good sign. Another thing I look forward to is places that have specials, rotating specials. New creations that they've come up with. Because that is indicating that there's someone in the kitchen somewhere who's using some thought to put this food together, and is sort of proud of being able to creatively make some new things. So that is always a good sign for me. And I love it when there's high quality napkins. Sometimes the napkins at some places, and there's some delicious restaurants that have I don't love their napkins, but it's always bonus points for me when there's good quality paper napkins.
What about a cloth napkin?
Cloth is acceptable too.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, so what about the rolls of paper towels? Because I like those at a barbecue place when there's just the roll.
It depends
I love
on the it's not so much what it is, but sort of the material.
Have they thought about it?
when they just bring a pile of wet naps to the table.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I enjoy that
I'm
as
gonna walk out
well.
of here looking like a toddler.
Usually it's a rib joint that they'll do that for.
Yeah.
Chris, behind the camera, what about you?
Well, I totally missed the question. I have the wrong answers, but but to Megan's point, there used to be a barbecue restaurant on the east side, Spencer's, and they always gave apple fritters dipped in powdered sugar. I mean, as soon as you sat down. To me, I know a restaurant's good when I know about it and they don't advertise.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, if we've heard about it,
That's a really good point.
This is something I almost said.
Sure.
Relevant to that is that I'm instantly skeptical of places that do.
well,
Do you
right.
advertise?
That if I see a
Right.
commercial, I'll just say
Unless
this.
they advertise in Oklahoma today.
Today, which they should do. If I see it, most of the I'm not gonna say all, but most of the local places I've ever seen that have local commercials, I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
You better air a commercial because I'm not people would not come there if they knew what your food tasted like.
Yeah.
In general. It's not a universal, but it's
Yes.
a lot of the local places that have commercials, I'm like, no, I'm not going there.
Right.
Like I already know and I'm not going there, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So to me now it's a sign if they have a local commercial. Probably not the best place. In general, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So I mean, but to be honest, if you don't know ahead of time, I mean, because I've been in dives, and it's been wonderful, and I've been in nice, fancy places that I thought, you know.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know that. Like I said, the word of mouth is like the most important advertising there is. And I told you the whole butcher story last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever, you know, with just heard about it. And it was, you know.
There could be fine dining that is, you know, not forgettable, and then there can be places that might seem like a hole in the wall that are the best experience of your life.
Right,
We
right.
have those things.
Right,
Yeah.
and you know, and I mean, like most companies, it's top down. And you guys already said it. If the people are happy and friendly and love their jobs, or at least act like they do, you know, that's a better experience than, you know, when they're not. So, anyway.
Well, we had a few answers online. Eudora Hobbs Searle said simply freshly made food. I mean, I can't really argue with that.
No.
Especially, I mean, there are other places that sometimes you don't find freshly made food. I'll just leave it at that. Sandra Soli had several suggestions or things she looks forward to. Clean establishment, number one. Yeah, hard agree there. Professional staff not lollygagging around or on phones. Yeah, that does. I mean, if they're just sort of hanging out, I don't know. 3 tables ready for customers. Yeah, that's a good one. 4, I may need some clarification on this one. She said no clanking from kitchen or in dining area.
Oh,
Hard to
sometimes.
avoid, but
Yeah.
sometimes it does get a little loud.
Yeah. I know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, I think some clinking in the kitchen should be tolerated. But yeah, like
I will say, if you're gonna do because I've been to a few restaurants like this, if you're gonna do the like open kitchen thing where people can see in, don't also have the kind of kitchen where people are constantly yelling at each other.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I just want to add that we don't use the word lollygagging near enough.
It is a great word.
Yeah, I'll try to work it into each show from now on. Clean menus and also a welcoming atmosphere.
Clean menus is a big thing because if they don't take the time to wipe their menus down at least periodically, you know they're probably not cleaning everything else very well.
Yeah, sticky. There is nothing more gross than like a sticky menu. Like, no.
Yeah, no.
It makes me feel like the whole place is just like dirty.
Yeah.
And then finally, Oklahoma Today illustrator J.J. Ritchie chimed in, and they said, "You don't feel out of place or like you don't belong there. The waiter makes you feel like you're just chatting with a friend, and the food is so pretty you don't want to destroy it by eating. But when you eat it, you're glad you destroyed it. Then you look at the bill and say, 'Oh, that's all,' and plan to return soon."
That's a great restaurant.
That was a
Sounds
great
like a great
description.
experience.
Yes.
Where did JJ go?
Yeah,
to have
I
that
know.
experience?
We need that
Sure
information.
and ask.
Yes. All right. Well, there was one more I thought of. And that is, it's a good restaurant when it's featured by Oklahoma Today. So with that said, let's
I
go.
will say this really quickly. We do go to all the restaurants that we write about. If anyone's wondering about that in the magazine.
Yes.
Like, someone has been there, someone has eaten the food, someone has talked to someone every time. Yeah.
Including Elisabetta. So let's go there right now.
Yum.
Ciao a tutti, sono Nate e oggi mangeremo da Elisabetta, il nuovo ristorante italiano da 84 Hospitality in Oklahoma City. If you don't speak Italian, which I clearly barely do, what I just said was, hello, my name is Nate, and today we're eating at Elisabetta, the newest concept from 84 Hospitality in Oklahoma City. You know them as the people behind Empire Slice House, Goro Ramen, Burger Punk, all those kind of wonderful places. And we're talking today with the founder and CEO of 84 Hospitality, Rachel Cope. So let's go inside and check it out. I'm so pleased to be here at Elisabetta with Rachel Cope, founder and CEO of 84 Hospitality. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, thank you for coming.
So this is the newest concept from 84 Hospitality. We are so excited. since we're here and people have not seen this, tell us a little bit about, let's start with a little bit about where we are.
Oh God, we just jumped right into it.
Just jumped
Okay.
right in.
Well, first off, this just opened about 8 weeks ago, so she's still a very new baby for us. Located at 73rd and Western here in Oklahoma City, doing 6 nights a week, dinner only. Fine Italian and Wine is our tag, but also serving some Oklahoma favorites with an Italian approach to those as well, like a crispy pork chop or a strip with some rosemary, bone marrow butter, and things like that, alongside our handcrafted, made daily pastas and salads and vibes.
We had to do this at lunch, didn't we? I'm starving now.
Right.
That's not fair. This looks like a great place for a date. It's a perfect date night, it looks like.
It's a great place for that. It's also just a great place to come hang out and be social. Like, all of our concepts have that in common. This is just a little bit elevated as far as the type of things that we're serving here and the style of service and the lighting and the moodiness.
Great, I know. And we were listening earlier to the soundtrack is so good. You have to come and listen to the music in here. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And you curated that.
Yes. So, every time we build a concept, people say, well, what is the concept about? And I'm like, well, the best way for me to explain that to you is through music and kind of show you how it feels in that space. And that's kind of how I, for myself as well, kind of finish out those concepts and brands is, what does it feel like when we're here?
I like that. I like that. So 84 started with Empire Slice House in 2013, and what a success that has been.
Wild ride.
I cannot tell you. There's 2 weeks don't go by at my house without us ordering a half Rocksteady and half Teflon Don. That's the combination in our house.
Love it.
So good.
I was in a slice drought until last week. I finally went to go look at something at one of the stores that it needed some attention, and when I see the slice, I can't resist the slice. So I had to have a little
and that lunch special
snack.
Right? You can't get enough. It's so good. So tell us a little bit about how that started and what that was like, because it was a very different concept that you originally had.
That's correct. Yeah. So I was working at some other restaurants in the city and saw that there was a contest for a space in what was at the time the up and coming Plaza District.
That was very new.
Yeah, there were really only Everything Goes Dance Studio was there. Lyric Theater, who's been really the anchor of the plaza for so long.
Absolutely.
The Mule had just opened, and a few bars in the area, I think. But everything was starting to kind of turn, and there was a citywide contest for this old laundromat space. And, sort of naively, I was like, I have an idea for this. Contacted a good friend of mine who was really one of the only chefs I knew that was my age, that was a friend of mine, and asked him what style of food he would be best at, and he said Eastern European. So we put together a fun Eastern European cafe idea. Did not win the contest. Super weird. I thought that would be perfect.
Hey, I would eat there.
It could have been great. What could have been. But didn't win. I had gone to Austin for the first time shortly after that and ate at a pizzeria down there that was in an area that reminded me of maybe what the plaza could be or might be. And I just, ate at that pizza joint and thought we should have done pizza. So came back and started putting together this idea for maybe a different area if a different space came up. Got a call back from the landlords. We love you. Do you have any other ideas though?
Oh, wow.
And I said pizza, but didn't know how to make pizza.
Oh.
Yeah, so we did a tasting, the best that we could, didn't go so well. I found a pizza school in San Francisco. We had about 60 days to do better before they would sign a lease with us. And parents took all the money they had out of savings, and I went to pizza school. I'm not a chef, but I know a lot about pizza now, and that's still really the recipe that I learned there is what we use to this day to make our dough. And I learned a lot about the quality of ingredients and how to fix things when you mess them up, which is one of the most important lessons you can learn. And came back, and Empire Slice House was born in September of 2013.
You know what I would love to see, because you were a college softball player.
Yes.
National championship level. You played for Phil McSpadden at OCU.
That's correct, yes. I don't know if he would claim me, but I was there.
I dream of Empire Slice House at the softball stadium at the Women's College
Oh
World
my
Series.
gosh, that would be
Right?
Yes,
That's-
we'll definitely have to work on how
Putting
can
that
we
out
do
to
that.
I'm manifesting that for you. I'm
That
putting
would
it
be
out to the
amazing. Or what
universe.
about the Olympics?
There
now?
you go. Oh, hey.
Now that gives me some time to plan.
You got some time.
A few years.
Yeah, 2028. That's exciting. So for people who maybe haven't had Empire Slice House, how would you describe? How would you situate that pizza in between all the great pizza traditions?
Oh my gosh. We say New York style pizza. Obviously, well, maybe not so obvious to people, but what makes New York pizza special is the minerality content of their water. Everyone
Okay.
talks about New York water. There's another local pizzeria in town that is kind of like a duplicate of one that's in Harlem.
Okay.
And they actually brought in a filtration system to mimic the water in New York, which is wild.
That's dedication.
Yes, it is. We decided to just stick with what we're familiar with and what is that approachable flavor that we're already used to here anyway. But we have a thinner style of pizza, cooked in a deck oven, which is different from what you see in a Neapolitan or wood-fired oven.
Sure.
And yeah, we say slices as big as your face.
They're huge.
No
I
matter
love it.
what size
In the very
face you
best
have.
way, yeah.
Stephen Adams, he held one up one time. And then,
awesome.
But yeah, so we have whole pies and slices, salads. We have two different styles of Empire. We've got Empire Slice Shop, which is a counter service model for us.
Yeah.
There are currently 3 locations of that. And then the full service model, which is Empire Slice House, that features full service, full bar, but same great menu at all of those locations.
Excellent. So let's talk toppings, because you have some great names, first of all, for your pizzas. Teflon Don and Rocksteady and Ghostface Killa and all these great names for pizzas, but each of them really deserves a great name because they're so unique. Not only the quality of ingredients, but just the amazing combinations you create. And I'd love for you to talk about kind of what inspired some of those.
Oh my gosh. In the beginning, we're inspired by things we've eaten in other cities. What I mentioned earlier about the recipe for the dough that we're using in the restaurant, that creates such a great vessel for us.
It really does.
With 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese, which we've never strayed from, no matter the roller coaster ride of inflation of product, here and there, because that's what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
As well as the tomatoes that we're using, which are hand-picked in California. And so those are the things that first give us that base that we need, that set us up to put really whatever on top of those pizzas.
Yeah.
Then we kind of look at it from a chef kind of perspective, acidity and sweetness and seasonality of ingredients. And then we start having fun with it. Vampire Slayer was one recently.
I love that.
Yeah, because it had garlic butter on the crust and it was in October. And,
Perfect.
So we take those things into consideration. We've had everything from beets on pizzas. Back when our friend, who's not our friend right now, Russell Westbrook, played here, we had Brussels Westbrook on the menu that had Brussels sprouts and bacon and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, the names are always the most fun part of creating the pies. But
Do you have a favorite? Or is it like,
what's
your favorite
I'm
child?
a classic. If I go into Empire, I truly just grab a slice of pepperoni. It's also the way for me to best judge the pizza.
Yeah.
If you're going to a pizza joint, it's like, if you want to see if they do things well, just grab the
Slice your
simple
basic
slice
pepperoni.
first, and then you can get wild with
I do that same thing.
some
Any
of the
new
others.
pizza place, I always start with the pepperoni.
And I
then
always
I'm
take a bite out of the crust. I go, bite off the front, bite off the crust.
like, smart.
It's my way.
Smart. I like that. See, these are good tips. You should be taking notes right now. So expanding from Empire, 84 Hospitality now encompasses a lot, and over the course of its history has encompassed a lot of new ideas and exciting things. I mean, Gun Izakaya was one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. You have Burger Punk now. Talk about some of the other places that 84 Hospitality incorporates now.
Yes, so Goro Ramen opened in 2016. It has moved locations to the Paseo Arts District now from its original home. We also have Burger Punk, as you mentioned, that started as a food truck with a fun pink mohawk on top.
I love that truck.
And it was not fun to work on, but it was really fun. It was a great fun idea that allowed us to get that brand to see if it had legs.
Yeah.
And then when a great space kind of showed itself, we were ready with the concept.
Yeah.
And so Burger Punk, I mean, gosh, we've had so many that have, Elisabetta, of course, Empire Slice House, those are the ones that we have currently. Some have come and gone. Some still exist, but with other operators now that we've either handed over or sold things to friends who love them more than we did anymore and have given them new life, like Rev Mex, which is a Mexican restaurant, 6th and Classen. Pony Boy, which was a bar we had a hand in when the Tower Theater had opened. And Neon Coffee was a fun concept. We had Remix Ramen that was really built in a food hall setting in Edmond to see if it could see duplication in sort of a different setting than what Goro's able to do.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, we're just always thinking and creating, and it keeps us fresh and having a good time. But we have to keep reining ourselves in and go, but we have to focus on the things that we have. And that's really what we're doing right now, is working on those internal processes and making Empire consistent and better so that we can see, if there's a future for that to expand further.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing that I really love about all of your places, one, a lot of times when people start getting creative with things like pizza and hamburgers, soon you're like, that's no longer a pizza or a hamburger, right? It kind of gets so far out. And I love that no matter what is on the toppings, or like a Burger Punk, what's on the burger, it's very much a burger, it's very much a pizza. It kind of still has that familiar, that, I don't want to say safe, but like that comforting side to it. All of the food is just so comforting and yet so creative and so good. And what a great needle to be able to thread.
Yeah, I think it's important that we stay true to that core part of what makes those brands what they are.
Yeah. Another thing I really love about all of 84 Hospitality's places, and I have to mention this, is just the service is always so incredible. The staff is always so kind, so helpful, and so they just all seem like they're really having a great time.
I'm really glad to hear that.
So how do you create that?
I don't know.
That's a unicorn in the food industry, genuinely, right?
Yeah. I think, and really with Elisabetta, we almost said food is secondary to service and hospitality here. Yeah. I don't mean that, because they're all important.
Sure.
But to take everything back to the root of why people enjoyed going to restaurants in the first place. Community, they're social. Service, you're going out to eat because you don't want to cook tonight. Would love to be waited on and taken care of instead of having to maybe do that for your family at home that night. And we've really tried to keep that at the core of who we are and what we do. Is constantly just talking about the guests. But also caring about our staff and helping them develop so that they can grow into other roles, or potentially, see the restaurants as a career. It's not like just once you step in the door, you take a test and we don't talk again. We're always trying to pay attention to what's going on and make sure that we're helping them grow as people and humans and cultivate a great place for other humans to come enjoy.
I love that. That's fantastic. So coming back to Elisabetta for a little bit, there's not like a kind of a specific, it's not Tuscan, it's not a specific kind of Italian, but you did discover some inspiration, and everyone who helped create this place discovered some inspiration in travel. And I would love to know more about that.
Well, when I was younger, I was playing sports just all the time. It was a full-time job being an athlete. And so I wasn't really traveling much until probably, 20 years ago. I think I first went to I mentioned I didn't go to Austin until 2012 ever. And that's not even that far. New York and Chicago and Los Angeles, and got to go to Tokyo before we opened Gun, and I think that was late 2018 maybe is when we went there. But going to those places, especially, for Elisabetta specifically, New York and Chicago, and this restaurant wasn't necessarily modeled after a famous Italian restaurant. Of course, we take inspiration from some of those places, but it was really just some of our favorite dining experiences, period. Whether it was an atmosphere someone had created, or a dish that we loved, or a welcome pour of Prosecco that maybe someone poured for us along the way that now we do for every guest when they arrive here as a thank you, and give you some time to consider your cocktail, but you might be parched, so you need a sip. But
who doesn't like some bubbles? You know what I mean?
Who doesn't like?
Who doesn't
bubbles?
like some bubbles?
We love bubbles.
We should be greeted with bubbles more places that we go.
Everywhere. Life would be better. Life would be better. I can just see the car wash. I'm like, that would be just so much more enjoyable. But so a lot of Elisabetta is just inspired through moments we've had during dining experiences, or just hospitality experiences in general.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I love that I keep seeing it described not as a restaurant even, but as an experience in itself. And I think that I love that that's the way you're thinking about it. More than just food you're going to come eat and leave. Like, what is the whole, from the moment you enter to the moment you leave? I feel like you've considered every moment of that.
We literally, before we open, we stand at the front door. We stand in the parking lot. I get out of the car. We're going, what am I seeing? What am I hearing when I'm outside? And then as I approach the front door, and we look around again, and then we enter, and what do we see? And Maybe it's Christopher Walken, dancing to a video, as you walk in, which is playing here in the entryway on repeat. And then again, what do you hear, smell, thinking about all the senses.
Yeah.
And then just trying to curate a great experience for every type of person who chooses to come spend their time and money with us here. And also just it's a fun place to work in.
Yeah,
Like,
and that matters.
You're seeing, people are catching me on the floor here sometimes, which I'm not so good at anymore, but it has been fun for me and kind of reinvigorated my own love for restaurants by coming in here and seeing what's happening in this type of space.
Absolutely.
So fun.
That's so cool. Has there been a moment in the last 12 years since you opened, since the very first Empire opened, what was a moment for you when you were like, I think I'm good at this. Like, I got this.
The moment has not come.
Oh.
No, everyone will always say, I think people will always say this about me. I know I say it about myself, which I am a very harsh critic of myself. That's that competitive drive
Totally,
that comes from lots of different things in life, but mostly the athlete part, I think.
Yeah.
But I think if I step back and I looked, bringing the company through COVID sort of unscathed as best we could was a real challenge. And so I gave myself a little pat on the back and our team for what we were able to do and how many people we were able to keep employed mostly during that time and come out of that stronger than before. And then, I have to look at sort of our track record. I love a scoreboard. And when you look at the number of successes we've had or restaurants that have been open for over 5 years, or even the number of employees that we've retained, for, I think not too long ago, we did a little count for a retention kind of exercise we were going through. 130 people in a company of 400 that had been here for more than 5 years.
That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
That's incredible.
I was blown away. I had to check the number multiple times. Didn't believe it.
Wow.
But really cool,
Yeah.
And so I think when you look at things like that, the number of restaurants that have existed for a certain period of time, and then, hopefully what we're hearing from people in the community as we try to be a leader in that regard as well, with dollars, but also showing up and supporting all humans and causes here in the place that we live.
Yeah, and I'd love you to talk more about that. You guys have been a huge part of the community since you opened, and it feels like it grows every year, and we see you more every year in that capacity. So talk a little bit about some of those initiatives and some of the things that you've been doing.
Sure. I feel like I'm kind of known as the person that you can call when you need something and maybe get a yes from, and we definitely try. A few years ago, we had to finally look at ourselves and go, okay, we've got to narrow this down to maybe 3 things that we really are focused on. Sure. Education. Huge one for us, especially here in Oklahoma, as we all know, is very important. Kids, which kind of go hand in hand with that, whether it was supporting kids' sports teams by, donating for uniforms or entry fees for things. The homeless population, the houseless population here, we've worked hand in hand with the Homeless Alliance for quite some time. Wow. Whether that be the turkey tango slice that Empire's done for years, which we donate a large part of the proceeds from that to Homeless Alliance every year. It's like $7,000 and growing as we add more concepts, because all of the concepts donate to that. Cool. It's amazing. It comes at a great time for them too, right in time for Christmas when they're really needing it most in those colder months of the year. The LGBTQ plus community, of course. We've been parts of the festivals as they created the Downtown Festival. East Side Festivals, Juneteenth has been something that we've been involved in before. And my dear friend JB just reached out to me via text this morning, so I'm following up with him about what that looks like this year. I sure will. We see him in here quite often. He loves the place, which is always a good sign because he knows what's cool.
I was going to say, he's the best. It's a good barometer.
No
if
doubt.
JB's showing up.
No doubt. And so, those things, we do a 25% discount for teachers at all Empires for dine-in, and we've done that since the strike, which I believe was in 2018, and we honor that discount to this day for retired, college, private, doesn't matter. You have a teacher ID or school ID, you got it. So that's a thing that we're very proud of that we're able to do.
I love that. And the company has just grown and grown and grown, and you're all the way to Tulsa now.
Yes.
So you're next to Kane's Ballroom.
Yes.
You're on Route 66. Next year is going to be a big year for that.
Yes, it is.
How excited are you to be in Tulsa? And that's such an interesting, you don't see a lot of restaurant groups crossing over from one metro to the other outside of Oklahoma. So this was an interesting, what was that like?
Well, so I grew up in South Tulsa.
Okay.
I graduated from Jenks High School. And when I went to college, I went to school in Kansas for 2 years and then ended up transferring in Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really spend a lot of time as an adult in Tulsa. But Kane's Ballroom has always been really one of my favorite music venues. I'm a huge music person. And so when the opportunity kind of was passed to me through, I think someone sent me a message on Facebook, just a patron that I had served at a bar at some point, 20 years, who knows, said this would be a great spot for Empire if you can get it. And it took some convincing for the landlords, as you know, I'm always having to really push for those things, I guess, convince those landlords that it's a good idea. But so unfortunately that store opened March 12th of 2020.
Oh, best date ever
So
for the
good.
opening of a restaurant.
Yeah, and the first 5 days were amazing, but here we are 5 years later and still watching downtown try to reopen itself there. But we built the Route 66 store, I guess about 2 years ago, and try to move ourselves a little bit further south. Love Route 66. There are so many great businesses over there. And again, a building that was a former pizza restaurant, great location, and lent itself to that counter service model that helped us hopefully kind of continue to spread the word about Empire in Tulsa.
Perfect.
But yeah, so we're there in Stillwater, Edmond, and in the Paycom Arena as well.
That's exciting. Talk a little bit about that.
That's been fun.
I bet.
So I guess it was maybe 2 years ago or so, the Thunder came to us about corporate partnerships, and they were looking to add some local restaurants to the arena, as they had been running all of those from a corporate standpoint up to that time. Sure. And reached out, really wanted Empire. We toured the arena. This is the reason, it's not the only reason the city needs a new arena. I think that my personal opinion is that the Thunder's done great things for Oklahoma City. But when I was touring those spaces, it wasn't originally built for an NBA basketball team.
No, yeah.
And getting inside some of those spaces and seeing what they're trying to accomplish from a food service standpoint with what they have to work with was wild. Because it's not a lot.
No, and they do great things.
It's amazing.
They do great things with not a lot. So imagine what they're going to be able to do with a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now they know what they need, and that's what they're building. But I didn't think we were going to be able to pull it off. I couldn't see how we could even set it up to be functional for what we needed to execute. But they were great, and they moved some other people around and put us in a space that is in my favorite location next to the Jack Daniel's bar. And
Good location.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
see you there.
See you there tonight. But they were able to work some things around, and we said, okay, let's just go for it. And it's such a fun space. If you've seen it, we were able to brand the outside with sort of our graffiti, funky pizza, Ellie the Elephant look.
That's exciting.
That's become our brand, and just serve slices and a couple salads, garlic knots out of that. And it's been so fun.
Oh,
I've loved it. Watching people eat our pizza on TV is something I never dreamt was possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were able to create a little wax paper piece that goes under the slices this year that I couldn't quite get done in time last year, but it has Ellie with a basketball.
Oh, I love
She's
it.
twirling.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And people always seem to be having so much fun there.
Yes.
You know, and I think people really are glad to see something that's local, that they recognize that isn't, nothing against national chains, but I think it's just, it's a little bit more meaningful to people when they know that it's something local, and especially if people are coming from out of town, okay, what is this? Because I always, if I'm at especially like something like a major league stadium or a basketball, anything big like that, I always want to know, like, what is going on here locally? Sure. Same thing at the airport.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe that'll be on the agenda for us at some point. They came to us a few years ago, but it wasn't the time yet.
That's awesome. You talked a little bit about this, but I'd love to know a little bit more specifically, how is running a restaurant or a restaurant group like softball? Like what?
Well, growing up, I loved softball so much, in sports so much, that I always thought I would be a coach. And I didn't realize it until, a few years ago, but I am.
As I'd say, it sounds like you kind of are.
That's really my job
Yeah.
in my role, and as my roles progress, is to first teach myself and then just really be there for the team, help coach them, watch how people learn. I used to teach hitting lessons to 5-year-olds, and it's so fun to do that, but every kid is different.
Yeah.
And so is every adult. We all have different styles of learning and how we process things. And so I think about that, and I draw a lot from my experience. And it's interesting, a lot of people at our leadership level were former athletes. And so, you find that it takes that kind of crazy drive to keep pushing and pushing yourself. But I guess I would say that's really how I see that mostly playing itself out here in the industry.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So let's say I'm coming into Elisabetta and I've got a date, right? Because good date night.
Mm-hmm.
What am I ordering to impress my date?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Guys, pay attention.
God, there's so many, people say, what do you not like? And I'm like, well, if I don't like it, it's not on the
not
menu.
serving.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not even on
exactly,
here.
yeah.
But I think kind of a stunning dish that we see go out as a first course would be crab claws with fennel pollen and drawn butter. Those are visually kind of stunning when they come out.
I'm dead.
So
I've
the-
died and I'm dead.
Beautiful. The yellowtail carpaccio. So there's a nice mix of like seafood that's happening here.
And I think that's amazing. That's one of the things I love about Italian food that I think we don't see enough of in America is how much of it is seafood based.
Think about it, Mediterranean country.
right?
We can
Yeah.
pull from that. Why
Oh,
not?
Yeah, it's delicious.
And so those as starters, we're also seeing, oh gosh, what's another one? Everyone really seems to love the meatballs here. Empire's had meatballs for years, and so I'm kind of like, we're gonna have a meatball fight, but
Ooh,
there is
meatball
a difference
war.
in the tanginess of the marinara here that I think is rather enjoyable. So we see a lot of meatballs go out. Everyone raves about the Caesar salad here. I know that's kind of like odd to say, but it's because it's not traditional. Instead of the traditional creamy Caesar dressing, what our chefs did was basically take all the ingredients in a Caesar dressing and take them out, but chop them into a vinaigrette. And so we're serving some really beautiful little gem lettuce, but with a lighter, tangier vinaigrette that doesn't feel quite as heavy. It's a nice palate cleanser for the next course,
I like this.
which should be the spicy cavatelli,
Oh, yum.
or the lobster tortelloni would also be a wonderful choice.
Oh my God.
And then we also see the taglione go out quite a bit, which is a pork ragu on more of a spaghetti type noodle. Yes. And then don't miss the crispy pork chop. You're going to be full.
I was going to say.
We have packaging for
Oh, good.
leftovers.
Good. That
Yes.
makes me happy.
Yes. The crispy pork chop, the 14-ounce prime strip that comes out. We kind of spoke about that earlier. The sea bass has been a huge favorite for people who are not interested in maybe the pork chop or the strip.
I love a sea bass, though. It's so good.
If you do it well,
Yeah.
it can be great. And they're doing it so well here. Yeah.
I love that this is also kind of the, all the other 84 places are a little bit more fast casual. They're like Empire is my favorite place to take kids in my life. They love it. We love it. Everybody loves it. This is a little bit of a departure from that feel. So how has that been kind of creating that?
I joke and say we were tired of moving so fast, but then I got in here and I was like, we're still moving fast. We're just having to do it like the swan, who's like very just gliding, but under the water we're paddling like crazy.
Yeah.
But it has been so nice here, and one of the reasons that drove us to wanting to do this was as we're growing up ourselves. I turned 40 last year, so going to be pushing the 4-1
time.
Christmas Eve Capricorn, which explains some of the crazy.
Nice. I love that.
Or I'm told. I don't really know anything about horoscopes, but But doing this allowed us to slow down and be intentional, but also flex some of what we know that people maybe didn't know that we're good at. And I truly believe our group has the people in it to do anything we put our mind to. And this is something that, one of my operating partners here was the former general manager at Boulevard Steakhouse in Edmond before I lured him away, 7 years ago. And our general manager is David Rackley, who was our community relations and catering director for so long, who's been a friend of mine for even longer. Yeah. The perfect maestro to conduct what's happening in here with people's experiences. And, mostly I selfishly wanted handmade pasta, just so I could eat it myself. And then I wanted some wine. Yeah. Finally, and a martini, because at the other stores, we have great cocktails on some of the menus, but they weren't really stores that lent themselves to, if you want to have a martini at Empire, I'll gladly make you one. Absolutely. But here the martini comes in a glass that's about this tall, and it's just long and fluted with, you could have a caviar olive, and it's just a little opulent. It's so fun. Oh, that's amazing. And it's been nice to just kind of deploy some of those ideas that selfishly we just wanted to drink a great sparkling or something in our own space where we can control service and atmosphere.
Yeah, you create what you want to see.
Yes.
What do I want that I don't have?
And that's what we call our restaurants hangouts. Are they a place I want to hang out at? Yes. And this is definitely that place. And I like to think that all of our restaurants are like that.
Oh, I think so. I love the concept of third spaces. The places that you go to gather, the places that aren't work, aren't home, but that are home.
Yes.
And I think all of your restaurants very much have that feel. And I think that's been very intentional, and you can feel that it's very intentional. That kind of thing, as you know, doesn't happen by accident. You have to really want to create it. Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of places that you go that are like, get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out, This a different feel, like you want to come here, you want to hang out at Empire, you want to hang out at Goro, you want to that patio at Burger Punk in the summer. Are you kidding me?
So fun.
It's so nice.
A turbo
to be
out there,
oh my
which
gosh.
is the frozen Irish coffee slushy.
So good. So good. Oh my goodness.
Danger.
I had forgotten about that thing, but oh my gosh.
Filled with uppers and downers. Yeah.
Sit out on that patio and flirt with all the dogs. It's the best, right?
Is.
It's so fun.
Dogs and a turbo and a patio.
Oh my gosh.
Sold.
It's summertime.
Nothing
summertime,
better.
perfect.
Nothing
yeah.
better.
So I am so excited to try this. I cannot wait. I say let's have a toast.
We must.
Let's have a toast to you.
Wonderful.
First of all, can I just say, I won't toast to it, but how great is it being in your 40s? And some of that, those things, you get that feeling of like, what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. Like, you get that confidence, you get that sort of energy going. And
everyone says that they're the best years.
For me, I'll be 45 in July.
Okay.
And I'm loving it so far.
Wonderful.
I always said that your 30s is like your 20s with money, but your 40s
so true.
Your 40s are even better.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here's to our 40s, and here's to 84 Hospitality.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun doing that.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, I need my reservation.
We were there at lunch, and they don't serve lunch, so I didn't actually get to eat. I'm dying to go back.
Yes.
I'm dying to go back. We had a really nice conversation.
Do you think they have lasagna?
I think they do. I didn't check the menu, but
you know what I mean?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I just heard from someone in our book club that said that it was one of the best meals that they've had recently.
Really?
So,
Good.
Well, it's gorgeous inside, which you'll see, which you just saw watching the video. But it's really, really pretty, and I cannot wait to go back there.
Yes. Well, now it is Podvent time. This is the part of the show where we go through the travelok.com event calendar, pick out a few of our favorite gyms. Is there anyone who'd like to go first?
I'll go first this time. I have a really great event.
Carly?
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with CASA, specifically Canadian County CASA, but they help advocate for foster children who have gone into the system. And they basically give a voice to these kids that can't articulate what they need and everything. So I think it's just a wonderful organization. And so one of their big fundraisers is the Karaoke for CASA Festival, which is going to be May 31st from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Yukon Community Center. And it is free admission, but donations are widely accepted, and all of your donations will go to help CASA help more kids, foster kids. So it's awesome. And there's going to be obviously karaoke. and you can watch the karaoke all night. But then there's also going to be raffles, a kids zone, which closes at 9, just so you know, food trucks, local vendors, prizes, like all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a really, really fun event, and it's going to be for a really good cause. So.
Yeah, I was looking at that event when I put it on the spreadsheet. I was like, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you want more information about it, you can go to CanadianCountyCasa.org.
Cool.
Very cool. Megan, what's your event?
Mine is the Route 66 Festival Triathlon in Edmond. It's at Lake Arcadia on May 31st, and if you are a person who likes to move, then you will enjoy this. And if you are a person who doesn't like to move, you will not. But I was very curious about, like, you hear the term triathlon, and I am not really a person that likes to move. So it's not something that I've ever personally experienced. And I was like, what exactly do you do? And so it is... When you do a triathlon, you have to swim 0.93 miles, which I didn't think sounded like that many, but that is 30 laps in an Olympic-sized pool.
Wow.
So that is quite a lot.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, and then there's 24-mile bike ride, and then a 6.21-mile run. And so that is a lot of exercise for one day.
Yes.
Congratulations to everyone who does it.
That is extremely impressive.
That is amazing. And you can also do like portions of it. Like you don't have to do the whole triathlon. There are other events. Like there's a aquathlon. I'm not an aqua bike, a duathlon, a sprint. Like, so you can it looks like you can pick and choose a little bit what activities you want to do. And the website, if you want to register, is register.tryokc.club.
Cool.
Yes. So
I was thinking that instead of the bikes, because it's Route 66, you would get to drive a classic car.
24 miles in a classic car is something I could handle.
yeah, that would be.
Calories you would burn.
No, but I was just really amazed by just the swimming. Like that 0.93.
Yeah.
That's a lot of laps.
It really is.
Swimming is hard.
That's a lot. Yeah.
You got to earn that medal.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you're going to be somewhere doing that, Lake Arcadia is a great place. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, like I think it sounds like a lot of fun if you are into exercise.
Yes. Nate, what's your event this time?
It's one of the great Oklahoma festivals, actually. It's the Magnolia Festival in Durant, which is this Thursday through Saturday, May 29th through 31st, at the Choctaw Event Center in Durant and also at the Choctaw Cultural Center there in Durant. But because it's the Magnolia Festival, and I don't know a ton about magnolias, I thought I'd look up some facts. You guys want to know some magnolia facts?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, magnolias, the oldest magnolia fossils are 95 million years old.
Okay.
Which means that magnolias existed at the same time as dinosaurs, were probably dinosaur food, which, by the way, magnolia flowers are apparently edible. You can put them in salads. I found a recipe on YouTube. And then it's interesting. But magnolias are so old that they evolved before bees. So they're to this day, they're pollinated by beetles and not by bees. So that just goes to show how old they are.
So cool.
I know, isn't that crazy?
These are some really cool facts.
Yeah, that's what I said. They are also the oldest trees on the grounds of the White House. So,
that's cool.
President Andrew Jackson, his wife died 2 weeks after he was elected. So between election and inauguration, his wife Rachel died. So between 1829, when he moved into the White House, and 1837, when he moved out, he planted a bunch of magnolia trees because they were her favorite. And so they're still there.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you go to the White House, you can see Andrew Jackson's magnolias. So the Magnolia Festival in Durant, magnolias are a big part of Durant. And this festival's been going on for a really long time. And it's over 3 days. It's going to be really fun. So at the Choctaw Cultural Center, which is like the big Choctaw Tribal Museum there in Durant, they're going to have stickball clinics and demonstrations.
Like
so if you
that.
want to actually learn how to play stickball, you can do that, or get a kiddo that wants to learn. You can go just see a game/demonstration. There's going to be tons of cultural demonstrations. There's going to be social dancing demonstrations, all kind of historic things. It'll be a really good time to visit the Cultural Center. But the main event is at the Choctaw Event Center there in Durant. where they're going to have a carnival. They have a carnival every year as part of the Magnolia Festival, a really big one. It's going to be really fun. We joke a lot on the show about food trucks and how there's food trucks everywhere. They're going to have a food truck city.
Oh,
wow.
I know. I don't even know what that means, but I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. Thursday night, they're going to have a showing of the film 8 Seconds, starring Luke Perry, which is about Lane Frost, the famous Oklahoma rodeoer. And it's actually, his brand is co-sponsoring that. Friday night, there's an outdoor concert. And then Saturday, there is a 5K and 1 mile fun run. There's also a vendor market with more than 150 booths, and they're emphasizing made in Oklahoma and made in the South products. Yeah, so some really good shopping to be had. I'm going to repeat the words Food Truck City because it's so fun. Anyway, you can visit magnoliafestival.com and learn all kind of stuff about it. And if you're going down to Durant, the festival doesn't really take place there, but downtown Durant is really gorgeous and charming. I highly recommend eating at Main Street Barbecue there in downtown Durant. Delicious. And if you're looking for a place to stay, if you want to go to all 3 days of the festival, the Choctaw Casino there in Durant is gorgeous. They have the Sky Tower is pretty new, and really it has a rooftop pool, and it's a really nice place to stay. So it could be a really good weekend in Durant. Take a long weekend. Take off Thursday and Friday and go down.
I need to look up how to become a citizen of Food Truck City. Is Guy Fieri the mayor of that one?
I don't know.
No, he's busy with Flavortown.
Yeah.
That's right. They're high school rivals.
You can have both.
Oh my gosh.
Kirsten, what's your event?
So I have the OKM Music Festival.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Formerly Oklahoma Mozart, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
OKM.
Yeah. So this is actually their 41st annual festival. So it'll be taking place on May 30th through June 8th. It's in Bartlesville as well as various locations. So I don't have a singular location set for that. But you can find all of this information, by the way. I'll just preview that. Everything is at okmmusic.org, and then there's a tab at the top that you click on, and it'll have the festival page, or like if you like hover over it, then it'll has like a breakdown of everything as well. So tickets, reservations, the whole works.
Nice.
But I have to look at my notes because there's a lot. This is jam-packed. So the festival actually kicks off with the Especially for Kids Festival. It takes place at the various locations. Activities will include live concerts, puppet shows, and immersive art experiences. There's a tea party inspired by characters from Frozen and Boogie Bingo.
Okay.
I'm not sure what Boogie Bingo is.
That's a new one
but
for me, but
yeah, I don't know Boogie Bingo,
if
but
it's
I
all
know
part of
Frozen.
Frozen, I gotta give it a shot.
I know Frozen very well. And then they will also have the chance to see Native American hoop dancing to celebrate the rich cultural heritage of the Choctaws. And so that's all part of the Especially for Kids Festival. And the main part of the festival will commence on June 6th. And Friday, it will be at the Woolaroc Museum and Wildlife Preserve. It'll feature renowned Okie jazz artist Grady Nichols, followed by the Manhattan Chamber Players playing a selection of classical masterpieces. On Saturday, it goes to Tulsa's, I think it's Kasha Hall Performing Arts Center. Okay. I don't know how to say it, but I'm going to take a guess.
Kesha Hall.
So on Saturday, it'll spotlight the Tulsa Honors Baroque Youth Orchestra and internationally renowned pianist Natasha Peremsky. And then on Sunday, it goes to the Refinery, where it'll feature the Lessa Steel Piano Studio. And then the whole festival will close with intricate classical selections by the Escher Quartet. I might be saying some of those wrong, but it's going to be a lot of music, going to be a lot of fun, there's going to be a lot of activities all over the place. You can get out, see some sights, kind of beep, bop, boop around, you know. It'll be great.
I love that. And Bartlesville's great. It's always a good reason to go to Bartlesville. Like, anytime you get to go.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for
What
sure.
a good town. Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Good times. That's a good event. That's a really good one.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about
classic.
you, Ben? What do you think that we should do this weekend?
Well, so I am known as the single friend in my friend group. And so that's right. He is available.
Ladies.
You can send your
Your
inquiries to
subscriber
OKTpod.
numbers just went way up.
OKTpod at travelok.com. Anyway, but a lot of my friends, especially my female friends, they will try to set me up with their other single friends. And they're like, oh, it's a blind date. Like, that's really cute. That's really cool. But in my experience, having gone on a few, it's sort of a mixed bag. Like having a conversation with a complete stranger for a sustained amount of time, like more than 5 minutes, that takes a lot. It takes a lot. But I think I know what can make it better. Do you know what that is?
What is it?
Chemistry? No, that won't make it better. What will make it better?
Alcohol.
Alcohol, it could, but that's not where I'm going. It's a live studio audience.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. So you're on a date in front of an audience?
Yes, that is the
that
exact
sounds
premise
much
of my podvent.
Wow.
It's called Updating. It's at the Bricktown Comedy Club. Now, this is a live event / YouTube show hybrid. I think they're normally based out of New York. But it's exactly like I just described. They find two people and they blindfold them. And they sort of have their dates blindfolded in front of the audience.
I have watched this before. It's very interesting.
It is very interesting. Yeah, so they are coming to Bricktown Comedy Club. Now, I should say that this is definitely it's an 18+ event, and it's definitely on the adult side. So just be mindful of that if you do choose to attend. So you get to see if the original couple works out, but then they'll also like bring on some other people, and it just goes on for a while. And they pick out people from the crowd.
Wait, I have a question. So
Yes.
are you there on a blind date, or do they find somebody for you in the audience?
They have an original matching pair that they start with, but then other people.
Prearranged?
So if there's not a match, they'll bring up someone else from the audience to try to match.
So you don't have to bring your own blind date.
Right. You may end up on the blind date yourself if you attend.
Okay.
Yes. So it's a lot of just crazy hijinks, and it's at the Bricktown Comedy Club. I can give you the specifics here once my phone wakes up. It's been giving me trouble. Here we go. You can even edit this part. It's on Friday, May 29th at the Bricktown Comedy Club. Tickets, this price includes the fees, is $33.99, and you can order them at BricktownComedy.com. And I should say, if you go to the Bricktown Comedy Club, they do have a 2-order policy, so you have to order like 2 drinks or a drink and a food item. So yes. But yes, a good time for singles or for people who like to watch singles try to become hot singles.
I'm sorry, drinking cocktails and watching a blind date happen in real time sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yes.
So Ben, is this going to be our next video shoot for the podcast?
That does sound like a great idea, but I think they would probably have a problem with us creating a YouTube show
Out of their YouTube show? Yeah, that might be an
Maybe we'll
issue.
create our own update.
Yeah.
Next blind date.
Yes.
We'll all bring a friend to set that up
Oh
with.
God.
Oh wow.
Let's move on to the star of the show. I like that idea. Which I gave to just food in general.
Food!
Because where would we be without food?
You know, I don't care.
Nowhere. We'd be dead. That's where we'd be.
Yeah, it's true.
That is true. And on that note, that's all we have for you. Speaking of the end of things, that could be another. I don't know. Well, that's all we've got for you this week. This has been the show known from here to Drumright, home of Tidewater Winery. As the Oklahoma Today podcast, head to oklahomatoday.com and pick up our latest issue on newsstands right now. Send your feedback to oktpod@travelok.com. We'll talk to you again next week.
Goodbye. We would be dead. I mean.
Yeah, right. Dead.